Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff. Okay, sorry. I'm just going to try my basketball voice. That was too much. Let's bring it down a notch. I'm wearing my Gator shirt. It's Swampland over here. Anyways, welcome, guys. We're here. This is the podcast where we dive deep into the world of real estate investing and explore the random stuff that makes life interesting. I'm John Whitfield. My co-hosts are here. Carlos with Carrot Investries, like I am, and Brandon here from Ted Sysops. So we got an exciting journey today. Got some insights, strategies, and probably, most likely, some occasional hilarious antidotes. Please make sure you connect with us. Links out Let's Talk Realestate.tv. Follow us and catch the latest episodes. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. This week, we're just going to be chatting about some stuff going on in life this week. And next week, though, we will have an exciting demo for you guys from Mr. Papa P himself and the software he's been working on for a little while. So make sure you tune in for that. Maybe his face says he didn't know he's doing that, but I'm making it known that he's doing that next week. So come prepared, sir. Come prepared.
No, my face is Brandon can't see anything because Brandon had to switch his screens and my computer's lagging, so I'm talking into a blank right now. So there we go. I'm trying to move monitors. Sorry, I'm not my usual self at the beginning of this. I apologize. I have been running ragged with these PPL leads.
Is that a good ragged or a bad ragged?
Yeah, it's good ragged. Like I have.
Okay.
I mean, I'm doing really good with the PPL leads, and it's like, but you got to respond, man. So like they come in, I have like, so I'm using, Carlos will respect this. All right, now I am on the Tom Ford method from our Carrot cast we did. So right, isn't that his name, Tom Ford? Tom Ford.
It is.
Yeah.
I just don't know what you're going to say. That's what my face is.
He's a huge Carrot guy. He's got an awesome little setup there. I always do some Carrot stuff with him. We're always on podcasts together or whatever, webinars. But so I have these templates built. So I have like pre-form email templates. Like over the past couple of weeks, I've built out, like I'm building my process as I go. And pretty cool. Shout out to Smartphone. They have SMS templates. So like I just have these templates made. So somebody, as soon as they lead comes in, I gotta like go SMS them, let them know I'm going to call them, email them, let them know I'm going to call them if they don't pick up. Another template, I just tried calling, let's schedule a call. Another thing, email. So it's keeping me extremely busy as I'm trying to keep track of all of this as I work to automation with these PPL campaigns, because I'm doing Lead Zolo, motivated leads, and property leads, and iSpeed to leads sucks in my humble opinion. But I'm doing pretty good so far on property leads. I am 1 for 4. So
Contracts?
So
Damn.
I've gotten 2 contracts, one last week and one this week, off of 8 of their leads so far.
Oh, okay. So you got 2 contracts. So you're okay. I get what you're saying.
Out of 8 leads, I got, and what I'm realizing is a lot of people don't pick up. I've done 1 refund with them. They approved it, so that was nice. Well, no, that one's still being approved, I think. So yeah, I've gotten 8 leads. So I turn it off on the weekends and as I'm trying to work my processes. And I've learned that keeping it on at night is also a good thing, even if you miss it, because so I made an offer with someone yesterday that came in the middle of the night. And so I had no automation set up. So in the morning, I was like, I have my template, hey, blah, 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 came in after hours, would love to schedule a call. And she's like, how about right now? And I'm like, it was before I hit the gym. So I come into the office early and then I head to the gym. I'm like, cool. So I took my gym time and I just sat on the phone with her and talked to her and made an offer, but some idiot offered her Zillow value. So I have to wait. So basically my pitch was, listen, I didn't give her an offer. I was like, gave her a range. And I was like, I know I'm not going to beat this guy. If he's offering you more than Zillow, you need to take that. You need to go take that offer.
You need to explore what that potential is.
She's like, well, I need an offer from you. And I'm like, that's not how we work. I was like, I could kind of give you a range of where we'd be, but it sounds like so I kept pulling back. It sounds like you're at this point where you're shopping and you're really trying to, and it makes sense. You're trying to find the best offers. And I want everyone else to bring her reality back down before I go back on Monday, give her like 2 days. And if someone could close her in 2 days, or that Zillow guy comes in at 320 when Zillow says 318, like go for it, bro. Like,
Hmm.
and I'm like, man, like the comps, there's one on your street at 330. Like I can't pay you that. Like I don't like, and it needs work. That's a fully
Hmm.
remodeled home at 330, and she wants 320 because somebody else told her 320. So someone needs to use some type of valuing software properly.
Do I have the solution coming for you soon?
Yeah, there you
Uh,
go. Right.
uh, Interesting. That's
Carlos, you're on.
exciting though that
Carlos is
you're
on
having
mute.
successful. Is he?
Um, yeah, what were you saying, bud? Uh,
Dun
so
dun
yeah, and
dun.
again, these are contracts, they're not closed deals. Like the ones of foreclosure, we're chasing a 60-day to 90-day deadline for them getting foreclosed on an ovation. So we're hustling. We got home inspections going, marketing photos going. Um, so we're trying to get that thing listed. We're pricing it way under market to move this property for them.
Hmm.
And the other one we just got signed yesterday. So I mean, I got to get into it. So they're not guarantees, but it's promising.
Cool. That's exciting. Um,
So I have
Great.
good things to say about PPL. I'll have better things to say if and when I make money off of them.
I'm about to
If
say,
there's
yeah, your close ratio will be intriguing because that's was that what we kind of summed up from our conversation with Jacques. Now your mic is just rumbling like a plane
yeah, no,
flying.
I mean generally like, so I'm not one of those guys who's just going to get a deal to get a deal. So like my numbers make sense to me. The
Yeah.
foreclosure is going to be tough. Like that one might fall through if we can't meet the deadline, but I'm pretty sure between the realtor and me and our combined brain power, I feel
Mhm.
like we'll be able to get this done quickly. I mean, I know how to. I'm an ex realtor, so I
Yeah.
understand how to get this thing done, and she's good at what she does. She's done novations, so yeah,
Do you
like
feel like your experience in real estate, your knowledge of the different exit strategies, your knowledge of novations helps you make potentially would make PPL more
yeah,
effective as a marketing channel for you than like let's say a newbie because we're talking about PPL is a great opportunity for newbies to get in, but if they can't offer the exit strategies or have the knowledge that you have, then it might not produce the results that you feel like you're
if
currently.
you're only going after wholesale, like, so I just made an offer on one right before here. Like, I thought I was going to actually log in while making the offer so you guys could hear if that was the case. Um, but like, so answer's yes. And I think if I've never really sold the hedge funds. That's not like my thing as a wholesaler back in the day. Yes. But like as a wholesaler. So like I made one with a hedge fund style offer because I have a buddy that I think is working with a hedge fund that this could work for in Texas. So if I could get that along with novations, I think
Yeah.
PPL could be very lucrative.
Hmm.
I also think it comes to anchoring properly. I am an anchorer. Like I will anchor
Hmm.
you and then come back with
Sales
the
tactics. Yeah.
oh shucks. So I think a lot of it has to do with like how much are you offering to get the deal? Like are you leaving money on the table? You know, I've told stories about people like where I've been 60K below what I could offer and somebody comes right out of the gate and beats me. And it's like, bro, you just left 60K on the I had her ready to sign at
Hmm.
60K less than what you
Hmm.
offered. You could have still beat me and still made 50K extra.
Right.
So
Right.
like I think a lot of people out there are just offering a little too much.
Mhm.
But yes, I think the novation obviously, and then this other one's a wholesale deal. So like so that's kind of like I have a hedge fund one working. Hopefully he says yes on a wholesale and a novation. But I'm not an expert in hedge fund sales, so hopefully my buddy can get this moved. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
underneath the buy box, so
Right.
if they're still buying, this will be good.
I wonder, like, I mean, we've talked about this through the whole progression of the show of like, there's a lot of newbie real estate investors out there offering the wrong prices, not anchoring too high, so on and so forth. Are you finding that there's less of that now? Because I mean, there's certainly what we're seeing, people dropping out of the real estate space is
I mean,
the just
I mean,
world economy, like the economy is as having problems as well as the real estate market.
no, I mean, the guy I was talking to has a higher offer than mine.
Mm,
He finds it hard to believe, but like, I mean, I'm
hmm.
hoping I can. I don't think that person can make that number work. Like
Yeah.
I don't get it. He offered below Zillow. It's not crazy. It's just that the home is worth 380. I don't see how you offered 320 to this guy. So like
Mhm.
I don't get it. But again, he may have better hedge fund numbers than I do. So maybe it does work out for him where I anchored lower. And it intrigued the guy. So we'll see. But I'm obviously not the highest bidder. So
Mhm.
there's definitely still that there. But
Mhm.
I was talking to somebody yesterday. We were talking, me and Carlos, like we brought it up on the podcast before too. Like we were talking about interest rates, right? And interest rates are going up or getting cut. They're not going up anymore. And it
They
takes
haven't
about
made a
12.
cut yet, right?
No,
Or
they
okay.
stayed steady. They stayed steady this go round. But it's funny because what I am seeing is the interest rate cut raises from 2022 are just now really hitting the houses.
Mhm.
Right now, people on the phone are starting to understand that the market is softening, that they're not getting as much as they were for their house. And that wasn't the case 4 months ago,
Mhm.
5 months ago, 6 months ago. People are still like, oh, my house this. Now people are like, no, I understand things aren't the way they were. But if they lower the rates in 2024, what we finally fought, we waited a year and a half
For
for the
sellers
rate
stuff.
hikes for the rate hikes and prices to finally come to where it becomes more of a buyer thing where we could start using that pitch.
Mhm.
But now they're going to go lower rates and things are going to go crazy again, and all it does is kick the can down the road for a
Right.
bigger issue.
Yeah.
But like that's my concern is like, damn, like I'm finally hearing sellers in reality, and then if they lower rates, what'll happen?
Yeah.
Run
The
up that
same thing.
PPL budget. Can you guys hear
Yeah.
me all
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little different, but you're good, dude. Don't change a thing.
Okay.
So like motivated leads called me the other day to check in on me.
That's nice of them.
That is nice.
No, they were in a pretty good shop. I haven't gotten anything from them. And I think two of them are not their fault. One of them I think I could have done a better job on, but I missed out on it. He was definitely there's two real motivated leads I got out of maybe like 10 of them so far. Um, Not their fault. More my issue of negotiation and pricing offering. Um, but like checking in, letting me know that like I'm almost at the 15 lead count. When I get to 15 leads, they'll really be able to see which ones work for me and what doesn't if I update their little drop down status menus.
Mhm.
And they'll go ham. If I got the budget, they'll go ham on whatever ones I say I'm setting appointments for,
Yeah.
and they'll just work that more for me than anything else. So I like that. Like I don't know if it's true. I
Yeah.
like what they're saying. I don't know if that's true per se, if they really will do that or if that's just a pitch, but I'll find out like as, do I get better leads?
Interesting. That's that topic for another day. I'm intrigued about PPL software. Uh
Yeah, John.
don't we need to
I
get
know.
into
I
that?
have an idea for a software. I've been talking to you about stuff, but yeah, but again, I don't really need a software for PPL because like it just pushes to InvestorFuse, and then I get my alerts from InvestorFuse. The PPL companies send me alerts too, so my phone will like triple blow up. I get one from them, and then I get like a text and a notification from InvestorFuse. So like I'm getting like triple. So when my phone beeps like 3 times in a row, I'm like, oh, that's a lead.
I gotta get on the phone.
It's good.
Yeah,
The bat signal.
the bat signal.
So you were at the country club today talking to a seller lead, if I heard that correctly.
No, the seller lead came in as I was leaving the country club, and
Okay.
then I send my templates. Like I can also send text from my cell phone in the smartphone app, so I can if I'm not going to be there in the next 5 minutes, I'll pretty much just text from my cell phone like, "Hey, I'm on another call right now, but I'm going to ring you. I just got your info from the online web form. I'm on
Mhm.
another call right now, but I'll give you a ring shortly. This is
Mhm.
Brandon." So that way, when I call, they know it's me calling too.
Got it. Very cool. Well, dude, that's impressive. I was saying earlier that's Hall of Fame numbers if you're batting 250. I mean, that'll get you in the Hall of Fame. I thought of you as well yesterday. One of my buddies down here that's from New Jersey, a wholesaler in New Jersey and does fix and flips and stuff. He just wanted to try marketing down here in South Florida using motivated leads. I randomly got on the phone with him yesterday because he was looking for a direct, like a done for you direct mail company for a buddy. So I sent him some Investor Machine stuff, but he randomly just updated me on his stuff here. So we got PPL. He said motivated leads PPL going super, super well for him. I don't know the exact terminology that he used, but he apparently kept his ad budget on and it ran up a bunch, like 8, 9
Yeah.
grand. and he had to go back and like he had to comb through and say like, hey,
They
these
will
legit
spend
leads,
your
not.
money.
Yeah,
No,
that's what he
will
said. He's like,
spend
okay,
it.
he's like,
they
moving
are good
forward,
at that.
yeah, he's like, moving forward, I need to kind of like be a little bit more cautious of that. So it ran up a big bill on him, but he already got a deal under contract on the assignment side with a buyer. He brought in a buddy that
Yeah.
has buyers down here, and he's getting a 70% cut of a pretty chunky wholesale assignment fee, and that's just with PPL. He might be sending some mail as well, but I think he's just doing pay per lead with motivated lead. So new market for him, like just learning how to run out comp stuff, and
it's not
he's having
bad.
success with it.
Yeah, like I mean, again, you need quantity to see like how the numbers, the ROI that we've talked about on the last one, like how they really am I getting 2x, 3x, 4x? What am I getting? But like, it's a different type of lead. This is from a guy who is done all outbound. Like, I don't know. I feel different on the phone. Like I was kind of pissed. I was telling my wife, I'm like, this is how the $6 million a year companies get to 6 million, because they did this before while I'm doing cold call and SMS, grinding it out, doing 9-month follow-ups, closing people off 1 or 2 years. I'm closing people in a fucking day.
So true.
In a day. And it feels like what this feels like is what it felt like in 2017 doing SMS. I remember doing SMS in like 2017, 18, back on like the old systems.
I remember when you were doing that.
And we would have people literally call in and just be like, yeah, I liked your number. Let's do this. And we would be one call closing people left and right because we were reaching motivated people. The data wasn't getting run through. And that's what like, and I know I'm not like someone's sitting there listening saying, no shit, Brandon, like inbound marketing is everyone's been doing it for years. You're right. I'm just stupid, and I was not.
I mean, whatever. That's an argument we could defer, but you could also have the argument that when you're outbound fishing, you can potentially land a bigger deal, because if somebody is desperate, their ability for you to get a great deal off of it. So I mean, you could run the numbers and say, I mean, I know, like I look at these numbers of people who are massive inbound people, and I don't see the like golden deals that you hear about and that I know that you have gotten in the past from your outbound marketing. They're not getting that, but they are raking in consistent deals at the price point that they're looking for. So they're not sitting there waiting for that golden deal. I mean,
no, and I don't want to do PPL forever. Like I think I'm probably going to revamp some stuff and do some actual PPC as I scale PPL and really kind of diversify. But I'm all inbound at this point. I think is what I'm just focusing on. It's just a whole different vibe. It fits my personality and with my skill at like sales from my experience. Yeah, and then the exit strategies, like it's just different than the cold call stuff. Again, cold calls like you called me, whereas I start the call differently on PPL, and it's like, let's talk. Like, let's have it. And they're like, cool, let's do it. Like, I'm really happy you called me. Thank you so much.
Well, hey.
So that's interesting though, Carlo down there. I mean, I'd love to hear what he would do, but just to go back to you have to you could set a budget with motivated leads, and all these companies like. So I have like a 2 to 3 lead a day kind of budget on them. And then so across 3 different companies, obviously, like I'm going to get quite a bit for me. But if you don't put that budget, like, yeah. So before I put the one budget on like on motivated leads, I think it was motivated leads. And it was just like, bro, they're just like lead. I like, I can't do this many leads. Like they're coming in at one time. and so the other thing that I did to scale it back too, which has helped me, is on the one, and I forget which one it is. I am now below what everyone else is paying. So if everyone else is paying 300 and I'm paying 250, what I've realized is if everyone else has their budget, like whatever their lead count is a day, but the company, whatever one it is, will then say, well, shit, I need to give this lead to somebody and I can't give it to them at 300 because they're at their quota. Oh, this guy at 250, I'll give it to him, which is why I started leaving my lead stuff on at night, because I noticed I could get cheaper leads at night because everyone else was either shutting their stuff off that was beating me or was already hitting their quota, so I was getting more at night, and then I just hit them up first thing at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. in the morning and talk to them on their way to work. So I have like a little strategies that like I'm playing
I like
out with
that.
these companies to try to find ways, because I wasn't going to win a bid, man. Some of these guys
Yeah.
are at 350, 400, but I'm like,
Mhm.
they do not have an unlimited budget, and at a certain point, these leads have to go somewhere. So I
Mhm.
just go until it says I'm outbid, and then I get texts. The companies are like, "You have been outbid in Orange County." I'm like, "Oh well, let's see what happens."
I like that. That's savvy, just understanding. It's not
So
even gaming the system. It's just
it's
like,
not.
hey, it's
I'm
like
just
if
spending my
it's any
money
auction
wisely.
or whatever, yeah, you're spending your money
So I have
spending
it
your money
flipped
wisely.
on in numerous counties and in different. So like one of them is like a switch in every county. Another one is not a switch. It's just bidding in every county. So like I'm not saying I'm gonna own one county. I'm just saying across these like 12 counties in these multiple states that I operate in, like if I could get my 2 leads a day across any of those, because somebody in there hit their budget and they're
Mhm.
forced to give it to me below what they would prefer to,
Yeah.
like cool, I just save 50 or $75 on that lead.
Sure.
Hmm.
I
Savvy.
know
I love
that
it.
that's small potatoes, but it adds up.
Hey,
If you're
compounded
talking,
over time, that's tens of thousands of dollars over the course of a
yeah.
year.
And if
Yeah.
it takes you 10 leads to close one deal, $75, that's almost the $750 that you just saved that then turns into 3 more leads. So, you know.
No, I love that. I think it's a great play.
You can teach a masterclass on how to do PPL for the small guys. Real
Yeah.
estate wholesale.
But like Carlos is right, like you got to have the budget for it. Like I've spent quite a bit of money on it. So like if my wholesale deal should be pretty good if my numbers are accurate. So it'll pay for it and then some. I'm hoping to hit that 3 to 4x ROI, but we'll see. I need more data.
Got to go at it.
And then what are we thinking over the holidays? Are you keeping it on during the over like Christmas? I think he's on a Monday this year.
Yeah, so I was talking to what's his name from Motivated Leads about that. Like he was just asking me what I was going to do, and I'm like, I'm keeping it on next week for sure.
Yeah.
I don't keep them on the. I mean, I'm at a point in my life where on the weekends I'm hanging out with my family, so I shut it off, and that's what I love about the PPL is I could just shut it off and then hang out with my family. And if I want
That
to
is
turn
nice.
it on, I could turn it on in the morning and collect some leads and sit in the office and talk. That's fine. But no, so I'll probably shut it off, man, all the way through and then turn it on like Christmas night and then get back to work. You know, I got my home office. So, and that's the other thing is I kind of like the pittering around I get because I do so much. You know, I got my software, I got my mobile home parks, and then the PPL stuff comes in randomly. So I could get work done in between. And then, oh, a lead pops up. Cool. Let me go fucking talk to them. Whereas cold calling is a lot of prospecting, a lot of follow-ups. Like I was burning that smartphone smart dialer, just combing through my leads, seeing who would pick up for me.
I can't wait for 2024. I wish, everybody wishes they could look into the future, but it does seem like PPL and inbound is I don't want to say more profitable. I don't even want to say easier.
I don't think it's more profitable or easier. It's a different type of lead. But you have to pay to play. Like I couldn't get into this with no money.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you can also get into it as a solo person, which is
so like I've already spent like 7 G's so far. I'd have to ask Brittany how much I've exactly spent, but I'm pretty sure I'm hitting close to that 6 or 7 G's right now, and I've made no money back on it. And yeah, I got 2 deals, but my novation is not expected to close. Talking both of these are at the end of January. So, and I'm still going to be operating. So yeah, I'm probably, by the time I get paid on one, I'll probably be like 20 G's in. Just to make and then finally like my conversion cycle kicks in, my cash comes back to me, and I start cycling back that cash. So like, yeah, as a newbie, you're not going to be able to just drop the 20. And if you have $5,000, here's what would happen. If I only had $7,000, I'd have to stop today. And I could do no more acquisitions.
And you just end in the same thing. Like I wait till those properties sold in January, and then I'd turn it back on, and you'd be hitting that gap period.
And then
you'd probably scare them off, like how desperate you are for them to close. They could just steal it off of you.
Exactly.
Like, all right, something's up with this guy.
Bro, you got commission breath. Like that's a legit thing. And you
commission breath.
Okay,
Commission
so
breast's a real thing.
it is 100% a real thing. I've been there. 100%, dude. You will
Mhm.
scare people away. You won't be confident in yourself. And either you
Mhm.
scare them away from overconfidence and overexuberance, or you scare them away from just depression. Like, I don't want to sell to a sad person.
I think
Like,
it's
who
like
is this
needed.
guy?
I don't
Like,
even think it's either. I don't think it's either of
it
those.
could
I
be
think it's just
needy too.
neediness. I think it's like
Yeah.
neediness. Like if you really needed to close, like you have whether you notice it or not, you're on the phone way differently than that with that person. If it's the newbie example and you don't have any money and you need that deal to close versus long-term approach, mobile home parks business,
Yeah.
software business, real estate business.
Making the right decisions,
Yeah,
Yeah,
not the
so it's
desperate
like-
decisions.
Yeah. So I think like if you could do a deal and you could JV with somebody as a new guy and you go out and you could get 15, 20K that you don't have to spend to live. I think then, yeah, you could roll into a PPL. If you're a solo guy, I don't need VAs. I don't need. I
Yeah,
just got
that's
my
the intriguing
investor
thing is
fees.
your
Yeah.
overhead is a lot less
Yeah.
than
People
your
don't
outbound
understand how much
operation.
your overhead is when you're running an outbound operation. Like that's what got me. Is I was
Mhm.
like, damn, I am spending so much between follow-ups and QAs and like, yeah, it just.
Yeah,
And
holding cost.
eventually I am going to need a follow-up specialist again. Again, I have my training, so it won't be hard to just onboard somebody. But I've thought about it yesterday. Like there's going to come a point where I cannot physically do it myself, and I'll have to start scaling a smaller team. But at that point, I'm already in the middle of my conversion cycle, and my money's coming back to me as I spend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What if someone opted to do all their marketing was like pay per lead? Like they did like motivated leads, like PPC, inbound leads coming in, and then they outsourced to a cold calling center. So that person could. What was the term you used? Pedaddle.
Pedaddle.
The term that you use where you're like, I had more time, so I could just
Pediddle around.
Pediddle.
Pediddle around.
What have you outsourced?
I don't know,
your marketing?
bro. I'm pretty sure I made that word up. But yeah, pediddle around.
But that would be interesting because it's not as much time managing a team. You're pretty much just waiting for leads and taking really good care of those leads. Like there is, like to get started, I think there is that, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea of that.
Like it really comes down to like what you want out of it. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the play because we talked about it, right? Like you could be a $2 million a year operation at a 30% margin, and with all this overhead, right? Like, so what are you really walking away with? You have 600K in your pocket, or you could be $1 million operation with like a 70% margin because it's just you and your marketing budget at 30. Honestly, I think your marketing budget should be more like 17% of what you want to spend. But let's just say between marketing and G&A and your systems, you're spending 30%. You got a 70% margin. I'm making more money with less headaches.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on what you want to do. But yeah, I do see it eventually scaling into having some sales guys again. I just am playing around right now to see what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did not like my team. I just didn't like it.
It gets not that having employees is hard, but like a lot.
I didn't like the burnout, man. Nick Perry coined it best. I met years ago. He talked about it before anybody else, and that's where I heard it from. It was like 2017 or 18, and he was doing outbound too. I'm pretty sure when he was doing and then he switched to PPC. I forget, but he was talking about burnout, burning out his guys on shit quality leads, and like that's a whole different mentality for a sales team.
Yeah,
you wonder why he's got. Think of John, you always talk about how great his sales team is. Why do you think they're motivated? Because they're talking to people who are happy to talk to them.
Right. I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Like, of the conversations that you've had from the PPL leads, do you feel like you would like happily be on those calls all day long?
Bro, it's fun. I literally sit back, like lean back. I'm talking to them, like they're happy to talk to me. I'm happy to talk to them. And honestly, I've turned 2 people down. Like it just didn't make sense. I was just like, yeah, this is not going to be a good fit. Because in my pitch, I'm like, we're going to see if we can make you an offer today. If it's a good fit, if not, I'll let you know. But if it is, we can see if we could put together something, and I'd be able to give you a number. And if you like that, then we can put it down on paper. How does that sound? And people say, yeah. And then there's been people where I get to it, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to make you an offer on this. I just don't see how this is going to make sense for us. So you get to that point, and like I like that. Whereas with cold calling, I was just desperate to make anything work because I spent so much on my overhead, and I've spent so much time following up with these leads.
So you have to. make that profit. You gotta make it back. Yeah. Huh. Well, I'm excited
cool.
to see how that continues for you in the new year.
Me too.
How are you feeling? Like, I know that you spent a while working on generating some mobile home park leads. Are you still like balancing that and PPL, or what do you think in your 2024 lead gen's looking like?
So yeah, I want to. The problem is because I don't have a team in the mobile home park stuff. I have to stop every time I'm acquiring a deal. So we just closed
Mm,
one, and I'm closing Georgia in February-ish. So, and right now I just met the attorney yesterday and I'm putting all my stuff together. My partner's going to raise the funds in January. So like I'm in full on, like I got to drive out there Monday to meet the septic guy. So like I don't have time to buy more parks
mhm.
until I close on this last one and then give it off to Brittany. She operates it and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And then I can get back into acquisition mode on parks. And I'd probably be looking to buy two more next year towards the end of the year again as we start rehabbing and bringing those parks online. So no, and then hopefully make enough and build, bring on some people to help me actually scale that going into 2025.
Nice. So you'll have 3 parks. You want to add 2 more in 2024, end the year with 5. But I mean, it's nice though. I mean, are you still maintaining some relationships? Like, do you have like some people that you? I remember you telling me
Yeah,
that there's some people you check in with every month or something like
yeah.
that.
So I got my dialer and like with InvestorFuse and smartphone, like that syncs over to just call those mobile home park people. So like I'll touch base with them. I always thinking I got to do it anyway for the holiday and just kind of call them so they remember me.
Yeah.
Um, but again, it's a long term game. And
Yeah.
I'll buy stuff off a realtor, off a wholesaler too. So there's a plethora of deals out there.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely.
And then the
So
software. So,
yeah, I'm excited for next week. It'll be cool to see what you've been building over there.
I was thinking we should do an episode where you guys build out my automations on IF3 for my PPL stuff and show people how to do that.
I would love to do that. That'd be pretty fun because you said that smartphone has templates. Did you know InvestorFuse has templates too?
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, I mean, you mentioned it, but I just don't know how they work. I was playing around in it the other day trying to figure out the IF3 automations. And I was like, man, we should just have an episode where John does it all for me.
That would be pretty cool, actually. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we'll make that our between Christmas and New Year's episode. A little prepare your.
I would have no problem with that, like how to set up your automations. You know my style of automation. I don't like sequences. I know people do. I like
Yeah.
a very, very simple automation process. But it's about getting to that lead quick. And then on the refund side
Mm.
is like, I need to do X amount. And that's where I almost messed up one. And you
Yeah.
have to, the one company is like, you need 12 touches in 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
So and they're specific. If the email works, I need to see an email every single day without it bouncing to know that you're doing it. I need calls and text, 12 touches within 4 days. So like you have to be like on point with your follow-up stuff. So like I was like, and I'm doing it all manually right now with the templates, my manual email where I copy paste email template, click the button, boom. So,
Yeah.
I like that from
we could do that.
accountability.
We could do that.
Yeah.
I like that from accountability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean they don't just. I think what they probably have encountered in the beginnings of their career is people signing up for PPL leads, calling them like 1, maybe 2 times, and being like, "This person didn't pick up. I want my money back." So-
And I was talking to the motivated leads guys, and he's like, "How are your leads?" I'm like, "They're good, man." I was like, "Some of them, like, I can't prove, like, I'm not going to request a refund. I don't feel like it's fair. Like, I know I'm not getting a hold of these guys, but the email didn't bounce,
Mhm.
but the phone number doesn't really ring, but I still have one form of communication, so technically it doesn't qualify for a refund. I could put it under like miscellaneous and argue my case, but you got to think like, if I keep doing that, like it's
Are
just
they
gonna
gonna?
mess. Yeah,
Mhm.
like what's gonna mess up my account? Like, are they gonna be
Mhm.
like, oh, this guy is only requesting refunds from? That's the name of the inbound game. I'm gonna have those things. So like, out of the 8 property lead ones, the ones that I've gotten are the ones I've talked to. Out of those, I probably only talked to one other person on those, and then a bunch of them I'm still trying to call. Like I'm still trying to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
So like it's just the nature of the beast. I only submit the refund if like it's legitimate, like no one's picking up, the emails aren't, you know what I mean, or the numbers just none of them work.
Yeah.
Like there's fake. Like one person actually said, like I did not fill this out. I don't want to sell, and so I submitted that in. They gave me a refund, no problem.
Nice. Very cool. Well, hey, I wanted to talk about something. We last week were talking a little bit about like end of the year or what do we do. It's been interesting. I feel like this week has been a lot of pressure from just at the world. Let's go with the world. And it's like gotta get in all the planning for the holidays. I feel like just like mountainous swaths of stuff. And it's funny, we took the kids, they had their first sleepover here in Gainesville, so we were at that house last night. And it was very nice. The parents were like, hey, all the parents come for dinner and then you just leave your kids. So it was kind of nice. But I kind of expressed this like this week has been like nuts. It just feels like a landslide of people rushing before the holidays and trying to plan 2024. And so the guy responded, the dad, who's a very successful contractor here in Gainesville. And he's like, I know, it's crazy, right? People put so much pressure this time of year to plan the next like 365 days of your life. But come February, like how much really has changed? Is all the pressure and stress worth it when it's a time of year when you're instinctually almost feeling like I would love to slow down a little bit and, you know, spend time with my kids. Kids are about to be off for like 3 weeks for school.
No.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks of school.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
College like a month. That was awesome in college.
Yeah, I did love that, going from high school to college and you're off for like a month. College, it was great.
Bro. They're all in the gym right now, hogging the equipment. TikTok.
Are they?
At the country club? All the kids are
It's and like the girls are the worst. The guys just form in groups and talk about like steroids and girls and partying. And like the girls are just TikToking the whole time and like they'll just hog the equipment. Sorry to hijack your point though, John, but yeah, college kids.
Yeah. Anyways, my question, and Carlos, I would love to hear your kind of thought process on this. Like,
oh, there's a lot of those at the gym. I agree.
A lot of steroid talkers.
There is. Steroids and TikTok girls. A lot of those.
There's so much thought about like I want to plan every month of 2024 and what's going to occur, but I feel like those never really work. And like the guy was saying last night, it's like by February you're back to the, you know, what you were doing before. Like is it? I mean, I was like, okay, even as a business, right? Like to look at a business and say, okay, what do I want to plan? You know, do I go month to month? Plan month to month at a time, quarter to quarter, or do I keep my general kind of year, 3, 5 year like short, right? Like I don't need to be super detailed because I know it's going to change as I go into it. Like, what are you guys' thoughts on that kind of process there?
Yeah, for me, it's changed over the years. Over the years, I'm a very big like intuition guy. Like I'll kind of roll with different ways I'm feeling. The first part of what you're asking of like why people or acknowledging like how people put pressure on this time of the year, I actually enjoy this type of year because I feel like just as humans, I feel like humans in general, this is the only time of the year where everybody is doing like simultaneous reflection, but then also thinking about the next year. Mm-hmm. I think that issues people probably have, same thing with the expression, like more people take time planning the wedding than they do planning out like their marriage, maybe like the values and principles and stuff they come across. Wow. I think it's like that, a microcosm for the year. So they probably get a little bit aggressive in, and trust me, there's nothing wrong with like big, hairy, audacious goals and saying you want to do all this stuff. But I would first probably start off saying that you really need to take time away, like focus, like undistracted time, and just really plot some things out. Something that I like and something that I'm going to do, I started doing this year, is like theming out the months. Just try to put like 1 or 2 bullet items of if it's like a mastermind I'm going to travel to, or if I'm hosting people here, or if it's a certain event I know is going to happen or something I want to happen. I'm starting off, and what I'm going to do personally for next year is kind of plotting out and making a theme for each month, and then backfilling in, which I know my habits and everything like that has been similar, but you make tweaks to them, whether it's nutrition, personal development stuff like learning Spanish, work things like learning Carrot, just for some quick examples. But I start out with themes of the month and then backfill with like realistically what can I accomplish if I'm consistent to a certain level, like in the 90% range of daily habits and stuff like that. So short answer is people should be realistic, but most importantly, take time to actually just like deep think on a sketch pad and map some stuff out. And you got to build some willpower too. Like I think people are just more soft, like the TikToker people
Delayed
and gym bros.
gratification.
Delayed gratifications. It's like you really got to be honest with yourself, and it should be like a 99%. Like you know how they do like confidence, like for Carrot goal setting. It's like what's your confidence level, or when you're doing like ideas, like you need to be either 99% confidence and or just have the willpower to freaking do it. Like 99%.
So it could be smaller. People could just say like, I need smaller goals and like achievable goals, not like this is some BHAG. What you were saying.
Get some momentum, and I think we've jammed on Ed Milet's book like in April, May, June range on this show.
Yeah.
That's probably a good one to pick up, just because it makes it really detailed day to day. So that's probably the best thing. I would probably say that's the best thing. If I was going to go back and read like a goal setting type goal or a book, I would probably go through and read through my highlights of The Power of One More. Ed Milet.
Do you still use the full focus planner?
I do. Have it right here.
That's something like I have not spent the time to learn the year, quarter, month stuff, but I have like just in the last 45 days, like tried to use just the daily, like 3 things, just 3 things a day, John.
Mm-hmm.
3 things that you're gonna knock off your list every day.
Bro, I started doing that a while ago. One thing. I was at one thing. I was just one thing because I procrastinate so much, and I was like, just one thing. If I could do one, Brittany would make fun of me. I'm like, just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do one thing today. One big thing that I've been like, this is if I could do this.
Yeah, and I mean, procrastination was it for me as well, but it also felt like my to-do list was so big that I would walk into the day and be like, I don't know where to focus because I feel like my focus needs to be everywhere. So to walk in and I want to try to get in the habit of doing the night before because I know that like starts the day off successful.
Yeah, but you're talking about like these minute things. So like, John, that's very task oriented, like
right. But I know, but my question to that was because I know that this expands it out into
What is that?
Full Focus Planner by Michael Hyatt. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it expands it out into month and quarter and year stuff, but I haven't gotten into his stuff for that yet. But it feels a lot. Like I look into it, I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, I don't do those things. I got my Remarkable.
Yeah.
I just have like my to-do list and then like any urgent stuff. Like I just like today I have like who I got to call, like just quick things that I know before I leave the office. I got to get that shit done. Then I have like my to-do, which is an ever-growing litany of things for the parks, the software, sales, like, whatever. I'd like to say that there's 2 parts to it. All the goal planning in the world, like a lot of people will waste time, and this is just my opinion, will waste time listening to people talk about all the stuff they do in the journaling and the goals and the dreaming and the big hairy stuff and the I'm gonna learn Spanish, I'm gonna do this. But what a lot of people who give that advice don't realize is, well, you're at a certain point in your life where you have income or you have money and you have this and that, and those things are definitely possible. But there's a lot of people listening to this that don't have money. So everything that could be their goal is all dependent on them making money. Is like, in order for me to get into to do this, learn karate, do Spanish, or I need time and I need money. All these things of running this business, buying that equipment, all needs money. Buying that new vehicle, all needs money. And so a lot of times, like, there's different levels of like goal planning. And I think in the very beginning, a lot of people just need to learn to do and to attract, and not so much worry about like the end, right? The big picture, and worry about learning the process and enjoying that process. I think that's a pretty big thing, because you need money. Like, all your goals aren't going to matter if you don't have your recurring source of revenue, your active money. So if you don't have that right, you're going to be making decisions out of panic mode. And no matter what your goals are, no matter what it is, you're never going to achieve anything because you're in a constant state of distress and nothing good comes from it. You're sending off negative vibes when you're in distress. So if you're always worrying about money, I think all of your goal planning, all of that shit needs to be set aside and you go into grind mode because you don't goal plan when you're grinding. You just do. You're laser focused on just doing. So I think goal planning is a crock of shit when you're starting out. I think when you start making money and you have a source of recurring revenue and you're like, okay, I am now making 10 grand a month. And I think that's a very basic number for anyone in business. Okay, now you start goal planning. Right now, you're like, I got 10 grand. What can I do with this? What's my big picture? What do I see? And so for that,
The Millionaire
the
Course.
Millionaire Course. So
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
listen, I was watching. I'm pretty sure I got this from Alex Casada, not personally, but just on his Instagram thing. And I was like, that's interesting. And I've tried different things before, so I started doing this last year. And I'm not gonna lie, like it fucking works. So I've raised more money this year than I ever have. I bought more parks this year than I thought I was going to, like more units, lots. And a lot of it has nothing to do with goal planning per se. Let me say, it has less to do with the doing of things and the tasks of things, and more to do with the attracting. Instead of trying to make something happen, it's about attracting what's going to happen. And by attraction is the key, right? Like if you try to go on a date with somebody, like back when Carlos is single, if you try to force a woman on a date, it's going to backfire. Instead, you try to attract women, right? Like same thing with flowers and bees. Like you attract the bee to the flower. You don't put the flower in the bee's face, right? The odor, it all comes, the bee comes to the flower by attraction. It's the same thing. So like when I started doing this, man, like it does have you write down your ideal picture, your ideal scene, what you see your life like, and you really start to write that out. And then it's like, okay, out of this ideal scene, like what are your goals? And then from that, it's like, what are your affirmations to achieve these things that you're going to say you're going to attract, right? You believable. And when I started doing that, and I have tried to do what I did this year many times before, but like, and Carlos, we talked about it on other episodes where it's like, I say to myself, I'm going to buy 3 mobile home parks this year. And I would say it to myself every single day. Now I got 2, but I also thought I was only going to buy 3 at 25 lots a piece. And I ended up getting 2 at 60 some lots a piece. So like I ended up getting more than I thought, and then the amount of money that I was going to raise, like I've already raised that. Like I didn't think it was possible to do that until I just started saying money's not an object. I'm going to raise X amount of money this year, and you start saying it every day. And I think that attraction, I think, is the key long before you start saying, what are the 5 things I'm going to do to make that goal? Because that's very forceful for me. And I've tried the very forceful thing, where it's like, I am going to call 100 people today. And that's true. You need to do the work. You can't just sit around and recite pretty poems. You have to do the work. But by you saying it every day and attracting it, and then you doing the work, that I think is the mixture that makes the gold, right? Like that's what makes it. That's the alchemy of success, if you will.
All right. I want to break this down. I'm still confused. So you're saying first off, people shouldn't even focus on goals if they don't have the money to achieve goals, right? Like just grind, right?
Get a recurring money every month, whatever that is, 5 grand, 10 grand.
So you're saying this attraction part happens after you have that recurring money. Okay, so after you have the recurring money, instead, and you just said it, right? Like goals are like, in order to achieve this goal, I need to call 100 people a day. Do you feel like that just naturally occurs because you are attracting it to? So it's not necessarily like you are essentially end up doing the same things as, let's call it, traditional goal planning that you've practiced for many years, but you're going to it with a different intent and a different purpose, and it feels less forceful and more organic.
You're attracting things naturally come to you, man. Like, and it's funny, like somebody referred me out to a good buddy of mine, referred me out to a private equity guy about mobile home parks, and I had a call with them this morning just about mobile home parks and and I would have never guessed that. And that was not a goal. It wasn't my goal to
find this
post
person,
post X amount of things about mobile home parks. But one of the things I said to myself, I am building a personal brand that revolves around mobile home parks, private money, software and systems. And like I would say that to myself. I didn't say I need 10 posts a day because then that gets overwhelming and I'm doing this and I have so much to do. I just say I am focusing on social media and building my brand. And as a result, somebody saw that. And then when they had a convo, they thought of me and it brought this opportunity. I didn't force that opportunity. I attracted that opportunity.
Mhm.
And there's a difference there of like how these things start to fall into place is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Now, there's a time and a place to say, yes, I need my company to make $10 million in revenue.
How does that
And
happen?
here's how
Yeah.
does that happen? We need to do this, because you have employees you need to give stuff to. That's
Mhm.
completely different than what I'm talking about. But I personally think just saying, I want to make $10 million. How do I do that? Okay, I'm going to do this. I need to do 5 deals. How do I do 5 deals? I need to call 1,000 people because my conversion rate is this. I'm going to do it. Good. And then every day you just show up and do that. You're forcing that to happen. I believe those things are good, but you need to attract them to happen. I only say that because I had experience prior years and still I started to understand the laws of attraction versus the laws of force, power versus force. And so that's all I'm trying to say is like, I just think there's a huge difference when you do those things. And I think it's all a crock of shit. So when it comes down to doing the goals, like you can force stuff to, but Carlos commission breath. Like if I'm not making money,
Mhm.
$5,000, whatever to live off of, and I'm setting goals of $10 million, not only do the sellers, like here's the trick. Sellers may understand that you have commission breath and not sell to you, but you know who else does? You do. How are you going to tell yourself you're going to make $10 million this year or whatever, $1 million when you're not even making $5,000 a month? How is your internal system going to believe that you're capable of doing that?
Mhm.
Right? And you could say the words, I am capable of making $1 million, but bro, you can't even pay your light bill this month. There's a discrepancy in this goal that you set and these action plans to what your reality is that your perception isn't going to match up. Your mind's going to be like, bro, like what you're telling me in the life we're living right now
Mhm.
are completely different. I can't attract what you're trying to attract because you're living in a state of stress and despair. Let's just focus on this. And then you take it in smaller chunks. So instead of saying I don't say I'm gonna make $1 million. I say money is not a roadblock, right? Like
Mhm.
money is not a roadblock. It's all around me at all times. Money flows to me. I don't say I'm raising this specific thing. I'm like, I buy mobile home parks on seller finance terms. They come to me often and easily. Like I say these things different, and it's true. It happens that way because I'm attracting them. I'm not forcing them.
Mhm.
So it's almost like the level of specificity can sometimes hinder someone in what they're trying to attract.
Because you're not like it's just not meshing up to the reality of the life that you're in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think there's steps to it. And people are like, oh, you got a goal plan. You got to set this tone. But like, if I'm like, man, I want to lose 100 pounds this year, but like I'm extremely fat and I don't work out, you could say that all you want, but like maybe you should just be like, I want to lose weight this year. I want to look good. I want to feel proud of myself this year. In order to do that, I need to go to the gym. And I'm not going to tell myself I got to do this. I'm just going to do it and make it happen. And guess what? It's going to happen because you're putting those things into motion and your body's like, oh, I believe this. I
Mhm.
believe this. It may not be believable I'm going to lose 100 pounds in 1 year, but I believe I can lose weight and feel good about myself this year. And so you're going to start attracting that and feeling better about yourself.
It also like it helps in the sense of like every day is not a perfect day and sometimes you're gonna slip up. And if you are like I set this goal of like I'm gonna go to the gym every day, or no, let's say I set the goal I'm gonna lose 100 pounds, and you're like, I didn't go to the gym today, no worries, I'll just work as hard tomorrow. And then you start to slip up and you don't go as often. But if you're doing the phrasing of attracting and I feel proud of who I am, it's like you could not go to the gym and be like, that doesn't feel as good. And it's not like
Yeah.
you're not like kicking the can. It's literally like I am training my brain to not feel good about this. And so I am more inclined to want to go to the gym versus saying,
So,
like, I got to do
yes.
100.
So think about this, right? Like, John, that's perfect, right? Because you're forcing yourself to do it. What if I said to buy my mobile home parks, I am going to call 100 people a day and I'm going to buy data on Monday and I'm going to skip trace those. So by Tuesday, I am going to call 100 people every single day and that's all I'm going to do all day because that's my conversion rate. Well, you know
Mhm,
what? I wouldn't have gotten any parks
mhm,
because I bought them from wholesalers and realtors, not from my conversions. So I attracted them. Why? Because what I was doing is my goal wasn't to do X. My goal was to achieve and attract this. So what was I doing? I was putting myself out there. People referred me. I would get stuff sent to me on Instagram. I'm still looking at parks. People saw me post something and talk about it. So then wholesalers are DMing me stuff, emailing me stuff. I'm talking to realtors. If I just did those things, I would have never attracted everything else. In fact, I would have actually repelled it because I was forcing myself down this lane while the universe is like, hey man, like all this over here, like you're just ignoring because you're so focused on that. Like, we'll be here when you're ready, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. If you tell yourself you're going to go to the gym at 5 a.m. every day and you skip one, well, what happens? And then like you're forced, I'm going to do this rep every day, and then you miss it. Like it could be degrading. So yeah, I think. And so this book is interesting. There's a lot more to it, right? And obviously it tells you to write down your plan and it tells you to do those things. But it's first and foremost is about the attraction aspect of it.
Yeah.
You have to be able to attract the things that you want, not force the things that you need.
Yeah. Who's the author of that one?
Mark Allen.
Mr. Mark Allen.
So I'm going to do it again. Like I was going to read through it again and kind of do it. And there's something in here I've never actually done. I still don't know my true purpose. Like, so I haven't really, I kind of skipped over that part. Like, cause I just I couldn't iron that part out. So like,
Yeah.
I'm still working on that. I'm a work in progress.
As we all are. We all are until the day we go.
That's true.
But Carlos reminded me of something. There was a post and it's like how I became a millionaire at 27. Right. My advice for others, how I'm like a VP at this investment bank, blah, 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 whatever it is. Right. And it's like, I wake up at 4 a.m. every day.
Oh, yeah.
I journal every morning. I have my avocado toast. I walk outside and take a brisk walk where I'm say my gratitudes and my affirmations. I get into the office and I read 10 pages a day. I get into the office and my dad owns the company. And it's like it's so true because the things that people talk about doing are not what they did when they started.
That's so, very true. Yes.
Like you don't have time, bro, if you're grinding to do all of the goal planning and shit. You don't have time to journal. You don't have time to affirmate. What you have time to do is fucking find a way to pay your bills and survive so you can make money and plan out of a state of positivity and not distress. And if you can't do that, and so that's why maybe having a job or wholesaling or something. That's why I like wholesaling, because I think wholesaling is great as a short-term endeavor to help you build up. And if you're smart about it, it can then give you that stress-free life to really go plan, which most people don't have the time or ability to afford to do.
I think like many things, life is just a constant thing of paradoxes. But yeah, I think we're kind of talking two different areas of like general, maybe business owner.
Yeah, you're right. We're kind of mixing
versus maybe somebody that's listening to the show that's wholesaling. But I think at a minimum, you have to have some type of like vision of where you want to go. If you're doing any of that stuff, even if you are at a certain high level, that we're talking about, the reading, the journaling, the meditating, any of the personal development stuff, all of that should be to put you in a prime area to work better. So when you are working, you're more efficient. It's not you're not just doing that.
I would be hard pressed, Carlos, and I know this could be an argument between us. I would be hard pressed for you to find me one highly successful, wealthy person who tells you that when they started their company, that's what they were doing. I have never heard one person's story. Now, I've heard them after they started gaining success. They started doing that. But I've never heard Mark Cuban, Donald Trump, I've never heard Ashton Kutcher, any of these guys say, I would wake up every morning and I would meditate and I would journal and I would do. Now, I've heard multiple people like Jim Carrey have big, hairy goals. And he said, I wrote a check to myself for $10 million. And so what is that? That's attraction. That's not, I woke up every morning and I did it, because then I'm more down John's route, was like, you say you're going to do this shit and then you don't do it. And what happens? Nobody that I know, Elon Musk, none of them are like, I became successful by meditating every morning and reading 10 pages a day and journaling my goals and dreams. So that's all I'm saying is I think sometimes we take advice from people and they're at different levels than us. And I think that like you should just really
Mhm.
focus on your grind.
Mm-hmm. The levels are important. Context to advice,
But you
right?
start making money, and now you're at a point where Carlos is right. I
Mhm.
need those things. I need to write down my dreams and my goals in a journal, and I need to take a moment to think because my employees rely on my big picture to drive this company forward. And at that point, though, I have somebody doing the work to free me up to do those things. You don't have that luxury in the beginning.
100%.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Hey, we're all on just a journey trying to figure it out, right?
We all are. We all are. But no, I love that stuff. Let's have future
Car-
conversations, especially around the end
Carlos
of
is
the
going to
year and
be
we get here.
meditating tomorrow, just pissed off at me. He's gonna be like,
Not at all. No, I think it's good. Not at all. I think it's good. I think it's good feedback, but it's like there are just levels to it where that is the thing. What I'm honestly thinking about is probably it is probably the most read chapter. It's a Neville Goddard book, The Power of Awareness, but my favorite chapter I read is chapter 14, The Effortless Way. And it kind of is talking about a lot of what we talk about this whole episode, like the commission breath versus like forcing it. And again, another paradox. That's why I say like one of my main truths of life is like just life is just filled with paradoxes, and life is living and finding the best pieces from both sides, which is like conflicting statements or conflicting thought patterns that you might have. But the effortless way is essentially saying like most of it is psychological. Like most of the heavy lifting you should be doing through like thought, not even like meditating, but like thought, ideation, things like that. And then you're kind of on autopilot when you're actually doing the action, or you're attracting what's coming, or you're working the realtor leads or the wholesale leads, like Papa P says. You're not like clenching your fist, like going through it. You're
I hit
just
that
vibing
100
into it.
today.
Yeah. But you have to
Mhm.
get everybody goes on their own journey of getting there. But yeah, I mean, if you're wholesaling and you're not making any money and you need to close deals to pay your bills or whatever, yeah, of course you can't sit there and meditate or
no.
think the entire day. But even Dan Martell, and again, this is levels to it. One of the things I look at in like my digital prosperity and abundance box, like a little vision board I have on my computer. Some of them are Dan Martell. I have multiple Dan Martell ones, but let me pull it up actually really quick to see the exact quote. But it's pretty much saying the picture is it's just like a chair, a leather chair that he sits in. And the title is The Thinking Chair, Where the Real Money is Made. So for him, that's a $10,000 per hour task. I would argue it still is for somebody at the bottom, but it's like they might not need to be as specific either. Like Dan Martell probably has to be super specific.
But
He has an
that's
assistant
the
that looks
key,
at his
though.
calendar the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, they rely on him for that. If he doesn't do that, everything falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
He has to think. I don't think the majority of America has the luxury to think.
I think yeah. I heard somebody say like what a gratitude, like how grateful are we that we get to spend part of our day like reading and journaling and reflecting on life or doing whatever we like to do, instead of just living in like a more primal type world where it's like you wake up, you're fighting for your food, you're doing all that stuff. So I agree.
Bro,
Like
I'm
people
still like that.
have had it way worse.
Um,
Another Dan Martell one
yeah.
I have here is he wakes up at like 4, in the 4 o'clock hours, but he always just posts like his outdoor view. Dream bigger, hold that reality in your truth as a mind. Act as if it's already there. So
And
that's the
that's
whole
the
thing
thing
of
is you
like
have to
being
act.
and
Yeah.
everything.
Even if we go back to like what Carlos is saying and what I was saying is even if you go back to like being broke, you still need to believe in yourself and believe in what you're going to do. You just need to focus less on setting all these minute little goals and action planning and just focus on the doing and wake up and say, I'm just going to do this every day until it pans out for me. And I'm not going to give up. And if it's door knocking, it's door knocking, whatever. And then once you start making money, now it's different. Now it's like, okay, what do I do with this money? But it's still, you got to believe in yourself. You got to do it, and you got to take it in steps, man. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Like I was now that we've talked about this, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read all this stuff. Like I have it in my remarkable, like I wrote down all my picture perfect stuff from this book. I'm gonna read through it again and see because I don't remember it all from last year, and I'm gonna check it out and kind of see what's going. So anyway, um,
What
That
can
was
we
good.
expect from you next week, Papa P? Give our audience a little.
I would love to go through some, not so much just a demo walkthrough, but I would like to kind of discuss the logic behind what I've created and why I think it's important. And we'll kind of go through that if we have the time.
Yeah,
Answer
I'd be
some
excited.
questions. Pulse of the week, though, real quick. Mark Zuckerberg is building a $100 million mansion on Hawaii that has an underground bunker with blind doors and secret passageways. So Mark Zuckerberg knows something is coming that we do not know. Keep that in mind.
Cyber attack 2024.
Yeah, he's probably the one doing it.
But
I'm
did you
gonna
say
send you a
blind
video.
doors?
Yeah, yeah.
What's
As
a
in,
blind door?
So if you get down there, you don't know what door to go in because the door doesn't go anywhere. So you're like, oh my God, where does this door go?
Weird.
I'm sending you slacking you a video, Papa P.
Yeah.
Of what's coming next year.
I'll tell you what, dude. There's something coming. I'm just trying to survive and make money and build a software and buy mobile home parks. I just want to live. I don't care. I don't know why people are so focused on controlling the entire population of the world. Why can't you just fucking live, dude? What type of person is that really that is like, I'm going to manipulate the world so I can control all the humans? Like, bro, all right, Napoleon.
They're at that
calm
level,
down.
right? They're at
Calm
that
down.
level where they've grinded, they made
I
their
know.
10K,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they dreamt, and they've
They're
just
in
had
their
to keep
thinking chair.
dreaming bigger.
Yeah, they're sitting in their thinking chair like, I'm gonna control these people.
Yeah, you can do all the goal planning you want, but when something breaks out like a pandemic or cyber attack against the country, you can't do too much.
All right. Well,
Just
All right,
joking.
guys.
this was fun.
Well, that's a wrap for today. I hope you enjoyed everything. Links.
We gotta put a good title.
TV.
We gotta put a good
We
title on
do have to
this.
put a good title for this one. It was a fun convo. You guys have a great weekend, and we will see you all next week for some TED SysOps preview.
All right, let's
conversation.
lock and load.
Looking forward to it.
All right, guys. See ya.
See you guys.